So this week, or this meeting, because next Tuesday is Gaur Purnim, and we generally have a Zoom review on Tuesdays, I've put together a combination of this section, which covers the second desire of Lord Krishna, and part of the third. The third desire is explained by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami quite extensively. So we'll include some of it here, and then next Saturday we'll cover the other part of it. Just for a kind of a review, how it's organized, we studied the 5 chapters of the Rasa Lila from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's where we are in our reading of study. And we've expanded that study to try and understand more deeply how Radha, Krishna, and the gopis are experiencing various exchanges of love. And the root of all those exchanges is the relationship between Radha and Krishna. But while Krishna was enjoying with Srimati Radharani and the gopis, there was still a part of his experience which was lacking. And we read about last week the 3 desires. The one is to understand the glory of Radharani's love. And we read about how her love is so much more prominent, dominant, and full than all the other gopis, because she is the source of all the other gopis, of all the queens, and of all the consorts of the various expansions of the Lord. So the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love, that we'll discuss today, and the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love, we'll cover partially today and again next Saturday. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 4, beginning with text 137. And you can see here Krishna in Dwarka seeing himself in a reflection. This is what will be covered. To understand the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love. So text 137, that is one desire, the desire to understand the glory of Radharani's love. Now please hear of another. Seeing his own beauty, Lord Krishna began to consider, my sweetness is wonderful, infinite, and full. No one in the 3 worlds can find its limit. Only Radhika, by the strength of her love, tastes all the nectar of my sweetness. Although Radha's love is pure, like a mirror, its purity increases at every moment. My sweetness also has no room for expansion, yet it shines before that mirror in newer and newer beauty. There is constant competition between my sweetness and the mirror of Radha's love. They both go on increasing, but neither knows defeat. My sweetness is always newer and newer. Devotees taste it according to their own respective love. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Krishna's attractiveness is wonderful and unlimited. No one can know the end of it. Srimati Radharani alone can relish such extensiveness from her position in the Ashraya category. The mirror of Srimati Radharani's transcendental love is perfectly clear, yet it appears clearer and clearest in the transcendental method of understanding Krishna. In the mirror of Radharani's heart, the transcendental features of Krishna appear increasingly new and fresh. In other words, the attraction of Krishna increases in proportion to the understanding of Srimati Radharani. Each tries to supersede the other. Neither wants to be defeated in increasing the intensity of love. Desiring to understand Radharani's attitude of increasing love, Lord Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Swami, you want to choose some others? You have to unmute.
This is a really wonderful purport. Does anyone have something to say about this? It reminds me of what verse of the Bhagavad Gita that I'm always in my favorite verse, actually. That okay. So Krishna reciprocates with Radharani. We see this going on back and forth, but in the same way, not in the same way, but in a little drop of that way. The living entity, the jiva, can have a relationship of reciprocation with Krishna that is ever increasing, and we see that in the relationship with the gopis. So I think that's a really important thing to be aware of. Anyone else want to add something to that, Pachi? Do you want to?
No, that was perfect. One of the things, in case somebody wasn't here or isn't been following closely, where it says here that no one can know the end of it, Srimati Radharani alone can relish such extensiveness from her position in the Ashraya category. Last week we talked extensively about the two different, or actually in the beginning we also discussed this. There are two categories of any exchange of love. One is the Ashraya, the person who possesses love, and the Vishaya, the object of love. So here we see that Krishna is the object of Radharani's love, and he's interested to know what it's like to be her or to experience her mood in the Ashraya category, the shelter or the container which has that love. So it's a big point in this whole chapter, how Krishna wanted to understand the Ashraya category, and therefore he took her emotions and color.
I see. Okay. All right. That's beautiful. Okay, so let's go on reading. Thakur, are you there? Hare Krishna. Thakur Marariji.
Hare Krishna, glad to see you, Prabhu, again.
Hare Krishna, we missed you.
I missed you too. I had some internet issues.
Oh, I see. Okay, so why don't you continue reading from
text 144?
Text 144.
Okay. So if I see my sweetness in the mirror, I am tempted to taste it, but nevertheless, I cannot. If I deliberate on a way to taste it, I find that I hanker for the position of God, who manifests an abundance of sweetness greater than mine, which has never been experienced before, and which causes wonder to all. Alas, I myself, my mind bewildered upon seeing this beauty, impetuously desire to enjoy it like Srimati Radharani. Purport: this text is from Lalita Madhava, 8.34 of Srila Rupa Goswami. It was spoken by Lord Krishna when he saw the beauty of his own reflection in a jeweled fountain in Dwarka.
Go on.
Okay. The beauty of Krishna as one natural strength. It thrills the hearts of all men and women, beginning with Lord Krishna himself. All minds are attracted by hearing his sweet voice and flute, or by seeing his beauty. Even Lord Krishna himself efforts to taste that sweetness.
Okay. Wow. Are you attracted?
Of course, yes.
Okay. Yeah, we want to be attracted to that. Anything else? Anyone else? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so they said that Lord Krishna has a supreme personality, do not taste this kind of mellows, so to speak. So so in terms of the role of a devotee, then this is how we relish it. Although one is Hatmaram, but we're seeing that he does not, relish these mellows until he takes the role of a devotee. So here is expressing himself about his sweetness. And I remember when I saw the picture of he seeing himself in that, I was saying, wow, who's that guy? So yeah, pretty far out. Yes.
He's
Ah.
the all attractive. He's even
Yes.
attracted to himself.
Right, yes.
Good.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else want to say something before we go on? Okay, then we will go on with Nanda. Nanda, would you like to read?
Oh, sure.
Okay,
49, text 149. The thirst of one who always drinks the nectar of that sweetness is never satisfied. Rather, that thirst increases constantly. Such a person, being unsatisfied, begins to blaspheme Lord Brahma, saying that he does not know the art of creating well and is simply inexperienced. He has not given millions of eyes to see the beauty of Krishna. He has given us only 2 eyes, and even those eyes blink. How then shall we see the lovely face of Krishna? The gopis said, "Oh Krishna, when you go to the forest during the day and we do not see your sweet face, which is surrounded by beautiful curling hair, half a second becomes as long as an entire age for us. And we consider the Creator who has put eyelids on the eyes we use for seeing you to be simply a fool." Purport. This verse is spoken by the gopis in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-15. The gopis saw their beloved Krishna at Kurukshetra after a long separation. They secured and embraced him in their hearts through their eyes, and they attained a joy so intense that not even perfect yogis can attain it. The gopis cursed the Creator for creating eyelids that interfered with their vision. And the purport says that this is a text from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:82-39.
Okay, Nanda, but what is it about the gopis' love that is even superior to great yogis who meditate upon the Lord for many, many, many years?
That the gopis are never satisfied. Never. They never reach a satiation point thinking, okay, now we've got it all figured out. We've got him all down. We've got him in our hearts. Everything's fine just as it is. Nope. They're never satisfied. They always want more. Their love is ever increasing and ever fresh.
Huh.
What else would you like to say about that?
No, I'm just hearing today. That's wonderful.
One thing that struck me when I was just now reading it, I was thinking of, I believe it's Srila Rupa Goswami, but it's also Maharaj Prithu, who asked for millions of ears. He asked for millions of ears so he could hear all the glorification of the Lord. And I was thinking, I was thinking that the gopis wanting to see Krishna with their eyes, that's even such a more elevated stage. But for myself and others, perhaps, just to be able to hear about Krishna, I kind of think that it's like, it's not exactly on the same level, but it helps us get to that higher and higher level.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting. I've heard that hearing is the last sense that we lose when we're leaving this body.
Yeah.
And that is actually the way to attain knowledge is hearing rather than vision, because our eyes are not, their eyes must have been seeing, they have different kind of eyes, I think. Their eyes are completely.
They definitely have different kinds of consciousness, that's for sure.
Yeah. Spiritual eyes.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Well, I think that's the point, that just imagine Krishna's coming back from the forest. He's been away all day, and they are so much in love with him that looking at him, watching him walk back into the village, and then their eyes blink, and that extremely momentary distraction is unwanted by them. That's how that's how I kind of pierced into that attention. Compared to a yogi, yogis spend thousands and thousands of years trying to fix their minds, and finally they capture the Lord within their hearts. But because of love, the gopis surpassed that. What does it say? That was They secured and embraced him in their hearts through their eyes, and they attained a joy so intense that not even perfect yogis can attain it. How pleasant, how absorbed they must be.
All the senses are purified. All this. Oh, Mukunda. Thank you, Pati. Mukundaji.
Well, yeah, this is one of the symptoms. Like when you read Ujjwala Mani, it describes various stages of love. So this is described as the first stage is called Ruda Mahabhav. In that stage, it's called Kshana Kalpita, that even 1 second appears to be like yugas. So it's very beautiful, where Rupa Goswami has described the stages of love. So you can see the heights of love as it progresses and culminates in the love of Radhika. It's wonderful.
Vipralamba Bhav. The
Yeah.
intense, the intenseness of that. Huh?
Yeah, her love is called Madanakya Mahabhav. That's the height of all love. That's the culmination.
Yeah. And only she can experience that. Why? Because she's Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. Thank you. Mukunda, why didn't you go ahead and read now? Thank you.
She's Krishna's
There's-
internal potency, just to be more precise.
Yeah, of course, of course, of course. You have to put it down a little. Can you see the top one,
Is
150?
that there is no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Huh? There is no consummation for the eyes other than the sight of Krishna. Whoever sees him is most fortunate indeed. The gopi said, "Oh friends, those eyes that see the beautiful face of the son of Nanda and are certainly fortunate." As the two sons enter the forest surrounded by their friends, driving the cows before them, they hold their flutes to their mouths and they glance lovingly upon the residents of Vrindavan. For those who have eyes, we think there is no greater vision. Purport: like the gopis, one can see Krishna continuously if one is fortunate enough. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that sages whose eyes have been smeared with the ointment of pure love can see the form of Shyamsundar Krishna continuously in the center of their hearts. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:21-7 and is sung by the gopis in the advent of Sarit season. This is from Venu Geet, that verse. So, the women of Mathura said, "What austerities the gopis have performed with their eyes. They always drink the nectar of the form of Krishna, which is the essence of loveliness and is not to be equal or surpassed. That loveliness is the abode of beauty, fame, and opulences. It is self-perfect, ever fresh, and extremely rare." Purport: this text is from Bhagavatam 10:44-14, was spoken by the women of Mathura when they saw Krishna and Balaram in the arena with King Kamsa's great wrestlers, Mustika and Chanur.
Okay. So why don't you give us a little explanation of this, Mukunda?
Yeah, there's so many things, but one sweet thing is that in the Venu Geet, this is the 7th verse in Venu Geet, and it's described that when the gopis heard the sound of Krishna's flute, they became so bewildered that they could not speak. They started remembering his pastimes. They went into their various groups, each gopi according to their group. They began to embrace each other, and they were remembering Krishna, but when they tried to speak their remembrance, they couldn't speak. So then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary, he says, "May I be blessed that they will empower me to speak what they intended," just as they empowered Vyasadeva. Then he goes on to say that for the next, like the verse Barahapitam Natu Varabhabhukada, describing the beauty of Krishna and everything, they couldn't speak it. So they don't speak again until this verse, which is the 7th verse. Anksham Fatam Phalam. They speak this verse that we just read. So very, very beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Okay, let's go on. Manvantara.
Oops.
Oops. What? You got it?
Oh, yeah.
Manvantaraji?
Text
you like?
157.
Yes, good.
The sweetness of Lord Krishna is unprecedented, and his strength is also unprecedented. Simply by one's hearing of such beauty, the mind becomes unsteady. Lord Krishna's own beauty attracts Lord Krishna himself, but because he cannot fully enjoy it, his mind remains full of sorrow. This is a description of the second desire. This is a description of his second desire. Now, please listen as I describe the third.
Can you give us a review, Manvantara, of the second desire?
To taste Srimati Radharani's love. This is the second.
Go ahead.
No, I cannot give a review.
Okay, here's the big hint right here at the
Okay.
top of the page.
To understand the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love.
Oh,
This is
gee,
the second desire.
Right.
That's-
So give a little explanation of your understanding of that. You know, another principal kind of topic that comes to mind is beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Mm,
Why? Because that person loves someone.
mhm.
If you love someone, you see them differently than other people see them. Like a mother. A mother sees the child as somebody else just sees kids. But the mother sees, something totally different.
Yes, I totally appreciate that.
So here it says to understand the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love.
Mm.
And then he describes his beauty, even he's attracted. So what to speak of Srimati Radharani? So what did you just read? You read these final verses, which, go ahead, read this again.
The sweetness of Lord Krishna is unprecedented, and his strength is also unprecedented. Simply by one's hearing of such beauty, the mind becomes unsteady. Lord Krishna's own beauty attracts Lord Krishna himself, but because he cannot fully enjoy it, his mind remains full of sorrow. This is a description of his second desire. Now, please listen as I describe the third.
So if beauty is in the eye of the beholder,
Mhm.
Krishna would have to take the position of someone who loves him to see through those eyes.
Yes. I see. I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm just constantly trying to appreciate it from my selfish point of view.
It's all right.
Like in terms of like, what does that mean for me? Like, what am I supposed to
Okay,
get from
so
that?
the description, the comparisons were really good. When you
Mhm.
love someone deeply, you don't care what that person looks like. That person might be a very plain person to someone else's vision, but you're seeing through your own eyes of love. And
But in terms of bhakti, because Radharani is a representation of spontaneous devotional love for Lord Sri Krishna, and so in bhakti or devotional service, what am I supposed to see or appreciate from that? That Krishna obviously is number one, but and bhakti is.
well, you learn to love Krishna by hearing these things
Mhm.
about the person who loves Krishna the most.
Sure.
You're
Okay.
hearing how to love Krishna through
Right.
Srimati Radharani.
Right, right.
In fact, it's also said that the spiritual master is the representative of Lord Nityananda and Srimati Radharani.
Right,
Srimati
okay.
Radharani has Vigyan, that means realized knowledge. She is naturally through and through the perfect
Right.
lover of Krishna. That's my
Right. That actually sounds good. Thank you.
Acharya has
Acharya?
his hands, yeah.
Yeah, Acharyaji.
Hare Krishna, thank you. If you're looking for some kind of, practical or personal, inspiration for you, I suppose you could think that if Krishna's so beautiful and so wonderful that what to speak of all the great devotees, if even he's mad after it and comes as Mahaprabhu to taste it, then I think that could be on a personal level, that could be pretty inspiring to us that, wow, he might actually be beautiful enough for me to take to Krishna consciousness and practice seriously and hear and chant. So if you're looking for like a practical, idea from it, I suppose that's one way to look at it.
If it's good enough for Krishna. It's good. He's good enough for himself. He
Yeah,
sees the
well put.
picture. Huh?
Well
Oh,
put.
okay.
If it's good enough for Krishna,
Okay,
if he's
okay.
beautiful enough for himself, he's beautiful enough for
I'll
us.
go for that. He is God after all, which has something. I just heard Prabhupada said, Mukunda, in 1 second, I just heard Prabhupada say in a lecture that because he was talking about these things we're studying about the love of the gopis and Srimati Radharani, and he said, first we have to understand Krishna. We have to understand Krishna, and before we can start hearing about these pastimes. So we're hoping that we have some knowledge of Krishna, because to hear these things, it's on another level, and it's purifying even if we don't understand them completely. But it's very important to understand who we're dealing with. Hare Krishna. Mukunda.
Yeah, in the verse we read just a little bit earlier, where Krishna sees himself in the pillar at Dwarka or in Lalit Madhav, he's actually looking into a lake. The last line of the verse says, Sarabhasam upabhoktam kamaye radhika eva. When Krishna was looking at himself in the pillar, in Lalit Madhav, he's looking in a lake. But in Dwarka, he's looking at a pillar and sees himself. He says, I desire, a urge has arisen into me to desire to enjoy myself as Radhika. Radhika Eva means like Radhika. So one indication is being made here that if Krishna is so beautiful and that Radhika has a special way of seeing him that's so wonderful that even Krishna wants to take that position, how great must Radhika be? How great it must be to serve the love of Radhika. Because our goal is Krishna praying. Because many people can get Krishna darshan, who are really practiced, you can get darshan of Krishna. But Mahaprabhu said that we want Krishna praying, not just Krishna darshan. So we don't want to just see Krishna, we want to love and serve. And so what's being exalted here in the whole 4th chapter of Adi Lila is the love of Radhika. How great it is to serve that love.
Wonderful. Thank you. I keep thinking that, okay, if, of course, we see Krishna in the temple, we see him in our deities, we see him, sometimes we see him, but if he actually manifested before me, I think I might fall in love. That like would go without saying, that love of my life, he's very attractive and he attracts people to love him. So to have that kind is not, in other words, it's not ordinary just to see Krishna. What to speak of Srimati Radharani. It's not ordinary to see Krishna.
Should we have Manvantara continue or someone else?
Did she read the rest after the third desire?
No, she didn't.
Oh no, go on, Mamnatara.
Third desire, to taste the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love. This conclusion of Ras is extremely deep. Only Sarup Damodar knows much about it. Anyone else who claims to know it must have heard it from him, for he was the most intimate companion of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The love of the gopis is called Ruda Bhav. It is pure and spotless. It is not at any time lust. Purport. As already explained, the position of the gopis in their loving dealings with Krishna is transcendental. Their emotions is called Ruja Bhav. Although it is apparently like mundane sex, one should not confuse it with mundane sexual love, for it is pure and unadulterated love of Godhead. The pure love of the gopis has become celebrated by the name lust. The dear devotees of the Lord, headed by Sri Uddhava, desires to taste that love. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 285. Lust and love have different characteristics, just as iron and gold have different natures. The desire to gratify one's own senses is kama, lust. But the desire to please the senses of Lord Krishna is prem, love. Purport. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita asserts, with authority, that sexual love is a matter of personal sense enjoyment. All the regulative principles in the Vedas pertaining to desire for popularity, fatherhood, wealth, and so on are different phrases of sense gratification. Above all this is the transcendental stage in which one feels himself to be only an eternal servitor of Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead. All acts performed in this sense of servitude are called pure love of God because they are performed for the absolute sense gratification of Sri Krishna. However, any act performed for the purpose of enjoying its fruits or results is an act of sense gratification. Such actions are visible sometimes in gross and sometimes in subtle forms.
That's a wonderful purport. Can you comment something about that, Manvantaraji?
I'm still trying to understand it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
You
Because
want?
prior, a couple of chapters ago, before Advaita, this Chaitanya Charitamrita reading, we read something about when Krishna said it tastes, or Visvanatha Chakravarti, it tastes just like bhakti, like it tastes just like prasadam, rather. Like Krishna was doing something and it tastes like prasadam, like the act was like prasadam. And I've been trying to understand that. And this description is almost like the same thing. And so what I'm busy doing is trying to turn gross material things into love, into bhakti, and trying to enjoy the bhakti or the prasadam of
I
offering it to
think
Krishna.
I think I see. That's mixed devotional service.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
mixed devotional
which
service,
is very
or
different from pure devotional
well,
service.
or there's dovetailing, which that's a big word.
Right, right,
To dovetail, we have to make sure that we're dovetailing our propensities and skills and whatever else we have for the
right,
service
right.
of Krishna. When we're trying to enjoy material relationships and
Mm.
offer that to Krishna, that's a little bit mixed, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
So, but
So that's why it's difficult for me to reach, you know what I mean? Because I'm still in this mixed service to
okay, so
type of
we keep
thing.
endeavoring, we keep trying, and we keep chanting, and try to become aware of those things that are like our attachments in this world. We try to become aware and have faith that if we give that up, but give our attachment to Krishna, sometimes Krishna helps us by taking them away also. So it's a noble task with perfect results. Keep chanting. Prabhupada said that. Keep chanting and you'll understand everything. Okay? Okay, let's go on.
Thank you.
Okay, sweetie. Madan, would you like to read? Madan?
Okay. Takes me a minute to get to the phone. Text 166.
Yes.
The object of lust is only the enjoyment of one's own senses, but love caters to the enjoyment of Lord Krishna, and thus it is very powerful. Social customs, spiritual injunctions, bodily demands, fruit of action, shyness, patience, bodily pleasures, self-gratification, and the path of Varnashram Dharma, which is difficult to give up, the gopis have forsaken all these, as well as their own relatives and their punishment and scolding, thank you, for the sake of serving Lord Krishna. They render loving service to him for the sake of his enjoyment.
Before you go on, Manvantara, this is the verse. You meditate on this verse. This will solve everything. Go on, Madan.
Text 170. That is called firm attachment to Lord Krishna. It is spotlessly pure, like a clean cloth that has no stain. Therefore, lust and love are quite different. Lust is like dense darkness, but love is like the brilliant sun. Thus, there is not the slightest taint of lust in the gopis' love. Their relationship with Krishna is only for the sake of his enjoyment. O dearly beloved, your lotus feet are so soft that we place them gently on our breasts, fearing that your feet will be hurt. Our life rests only in you. Our minds, therefore, are filled with anxiety that your tender feet might be wounded by pebbles as you roam around the forest path. That's from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-19. Dhruva, would you like to just comment on that particular verse? I think that's the one that you mentioned in when we were reading it before.
Yeah, good memory. This was the one that it's at the very end of the Gopi Gita. It's the last verse. And Sanatana Goswami points out in particular that prior to that verse, the gopis were glorifying Krishna, but also desiring some element of their own appreciation. Your lips are so beautiful, your eyes are so beautiful, your cheeks are so beautiful, please show them to us. He was absent before them. He had hidden in the forest and they couldn't find him. And then almost all the prayers are glorification of Krishna from that point of view until this particular verse. And Sanatan points out that in this verse, they're thinking of his pains and pleasures rather than anything to do with themselves. So the verse just prior to it, this is describing love. Thus, there is not the slightest taint of lust or self-interest in the gopis' love. Their relationship with Krishna is only for the sake of his enjoyment. And then this verse captures that sentiment that we're not caring about anything for ourselves. Your feet are so soft, we gently hold them on our breasts, fearing your feet will be hurt. They're worried about his pain. Our minds, therefore, are filled with anxiety that your feet might be wounded by pebbles as you roam about on the forest path. So the whole idea there is a shift of perspective and interest. They're caring about him with practically nothing for themselves. That's love in its purest form.
Yeah, I remember when you said that the last time. It was quite striking. So that's
Yeah, this verse was, I remember, thank you for bringing it up. It was, it's quoted a lot for this particular purpose.
But you distinguished it to make it clear by
Mhm.
saying it didn't have any self. It was only about him. It was only about Krishna's concern. So I found that strikingly wonderful. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Can I
Okay.
wanted to just insert one thing. You know, we often wonder, I do, you know, how do I affect Krishna at all? So if you're cultivating a loving relationship and you speak harshly to Krishna, to someone, harsh words scorn the heart. Harsh words, it says in the Bhagavatam, there's nothing worse than harsh words to hurt someone. So if we say harsh words to Krishna, you know, that he's affected by that. We shouldn't think that this is just some ethereal person somewhere. He's right there. He's a person. And if we speak wonderfully to him, he'll be happy. And if we use harsh words against him, you know, that how can I hurt God? He's so beautiful and pure and wonderful that even if I say something terrible, he'll be hurt. So that would maybe direct our behavior a little. It just occurred to me.
Madan, why don't you finish up this section then? Thank you, Sama.
Should we take Mukunda's after?
Oh,
I'll wait till
Okay,
after.
wait until after this, Mukunda.
Yeah.
Go on, Madan.
174.
Yeah.
The gopis do not care for their own pleasures or pains. All their physical and mental activities are directed toward offering enjoyment to Lord Krishna. They renounced everything for Krishna. They have pure attachment to giving Krishna pleasure. Oh, my beloved gopis, you have renounced social customs, spiritual injunctions, and your relatives for my sake. I disappeared behind you only to increase your concentration upon me. Since I disappeared for your benefit, you should not be displeased with me. Purport. This is a text from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:32-21, was spoken by Lord Krishna when he returned to the arena of the Rasa dance. The gopis did ask him if he couldn't find some other way to do it. That's less painful.
It's painful. It's painful. There is pain in love. There is. Mukunda.
Haribol, Dhruv, maybe in a different setting, I wanted to talk a little bit about the commentary of Sanatana Goswami, but also in terms of speaking harshly to Krishna. So much will depend on the mood of love that's behind it. Like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's
That's
there.
true too.
Priya Yariman Kori Tandra Butsan Vedastute Hoete Hari Hari Se Moraman. He says, Krishna says, I relish the chastisement of the gopis more even than the Vedic hymns.
And that's a little, of course, that. I'm talking about a little bit lower down there.
Yeah.
But
Mother Yashoda also very, come here, you naughty boy, grabs him by the ear.
Yeah, of course.
So-
Of course. But we have to always know who we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
But definitely,
It's not for us as sadhakas. It's an aspiration and an appreciation. But from the perspective of pure people like Yashoda, cowherd boys, gopis, because even Sridham chastised Krishna when he lost his wrestling match. Krishna tried to cheat, and he was severely chastised by Sridham.
Yeah, I was talking that actually that was like I was talking down here.
Oh yes,
You know, on the level of that we are. Krishna's a person. You know, we have to. Even Radharani says, "Don't speak like that to Krishna." You know, we have to be careful. He's very sensitive, very sensitive. Okay, let's go on. Shruti Rupa, would you like to read, my darling? Shruti?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We're on 177?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Lord Krishna has a promise from before to reciprocate with his devotees according to the way they worship him. In whatever way my devotees surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Purport. Krishna was never ungrateful to the gopis, for he declares to Arjuna in this verse from the Bhagavad Gita 4:11, he reciprocates with his devotees in proportion to the transcendental loving service they render unto him. Everyone follows the path that leads toward him, but there are different degrees of progress on that path, and the Lord is realized in proportion to one's advancement. The path is one, but the progress in approaching the ultimate goal is different. And therefore, the proportion of realization of this goal, namely the absolute personality of Godhead, is also different. The gopis attained the highest goal, and Lord Chaitanya affirmed that there is no higher method of worshiping God than that followed by the gopis. 179. The promise has been broken by the worship of the gopis. That promise has been broken by the worship of the gopis, as Lord Krishna himself admits. O gopis, I am not able to repay my debt for your spotless service, even within a lifetime of Brahma. Your connection with me is beyond reproach. You have worshipped me, cutting off all domestic ties, which are difficult to break. Therefore, please let your own glorious deeds be your compensation. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:32-22 was spoken by Sri Krishna himself when he returned to the gopis upon hearing their songs of separation.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to ask everyone, what does that mean? Let your own pious and wonderful deeds be your compensation. What does that mean? Anyone? What does it mean? Krishna's saying, can't repay you, let your own pious acts be your compensation. Anyone? Acharya? Oh wait, here's Thakur. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So when I read it sometime before, I was saying, Krishna is expressing, say, look, I'm not going to be able to repay you, but Krishna owns everything. So how could he as a debt to the gopis? So I'm saying, he said, let your servitude be your compensation. So I'm saying, wow. So you say, okay, I'm render service. So you say, okay, just like you work for somebody and he pays you. You're saying that instead of you being paid, but say, let your service be your compensation. So I'm thinking that the gopis would find some satisfaction in, they're knowing that, Krishna respects their service and is saying that he's not able to repay. That's my understanding. Hope I
Okay.
make some sense. Yes.
Okay, well, Pati, before I ask you to explain it, let's hear what Manvantara has to say.
Where do you raise your hand? I don't see that.
Yay.
Down at the bottom of your screen, there should be a little raise hand thing. But that's all right if you want to speak something.
You can just raise your hand, but then you have to be present. Then you have to show us your pretty face.
But in
I
that's
can't
cool.
see. What did you say, Sama?
Well, if you can't find it, which I can't find it either,
I have to
how do
show
you
the
find-
video, you said?
just you have to un video, make yourself available.
She can
and
just
then-
put in
oh,
like
there
just
she
did.
is. Then you go like that. A lot of people can't figure it out. Okay, wait a minute. Manvantara was going to say something. Then,
Shruti.
No, I'm eager to hear what she has to say. Please, let's.
oh, okay. Well, okay. There's other people. Did you want to say something, Shruti?
Well, other people raised their hand before me.
Go
I
ahead,
couldn't
Shruti.
hear
It's
it.
fine.
Go ahead. I can't
Okay,
keep
well,
track.
what I was thinking as I was reading it, where it says Krishna reciprocates according to one's desire. So I recall with Prabhupada once when I was with him in his room in Bhubaneswar, it was just he and I had just served him his medicine, and I could feel him looking at me, staring at me, and he just said out of nowhere while I was cleaning his desk from everything, he tilted his head and he said, "You've learned very nicely." And I just immediately looked at him, and I don't know where it came from, but I said, "Srila Prabhupada, I feel like whatever I know, even though you haven't told me directly, is coming from you." And he immediately said, like he almost cut me off. And he just went, "Yes, that is because of your sincerity." So I'm thinking in relation to Krishna saying he reciprocates according. So the piety that one performs is actually their desire to serve. And so Krishna is so pleased, that's the reciprocation. So through the reciprocation, this descending knowledge for us comes in form of realization, comes in the form of more of a taste, comes in the form of more, determination. So that is the loop. The more our desire, the more Krishna will reciprocate. So that's what I was taking from
That's
that.
nice. That's nice. That's beautiful. Okay.
Manvantara.
Madan, huh? Manvantara, she's waiting for you to say something. But we have Madan and Mukunda here. Do you want to speak first, Betty? About
No,
what your
I
realization was?
thought Manvantara wanted to speak.
I want to say something because
I'm sorry, darling.
It's basically the same thing, but it's just like my realization is just like so powerful right now. Just before tuning in, I was like thinking about there's no impediments to devotional service, yet the closest thing comes, in my opinion, as a close contender to impediment is lack of enthusiasm. But when reading through this and reading, I just read the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 4, text 167 through 69 that the Prabhu just read. And it talked about just doing love for Krishna, just acting like the gopis did, just act for Krishna's pleasure, despite not having enthusiasm. It's just like that is pure devotional service. And I was like, oh my gosh, when I read the last line of that, I was like, Krishna Bhagavan. So that's my own realization. It's just like, okay, so that loop that this Mataji was just talking about, it fuels it. You know, when you just act regardless of how you feel, even if you don't have enthusiasm, if you just act because it will please Krishna, then that's pure devotional service, right?
Yes. Very good.
Yes, Jai.
Very good. Thank you. Madan.
I was thinking that in 1088, 4, when Maharaj Yudhisthira was asking about why the devotees of Lord Shiva are so opulent and devotees of Krishna aren't, more or less paraphrasing it, is that Lord Shiva can give you something under earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego that manifests, but there's nothing more when it comes to Krishna in this situation. Krishna doesn't have anything he can give. What more can he give? They're already at the topmost platform that there's nothing more he can give. They're already at the pinnacle of what's available, of life. That's all I was going to say.
Thank you. Mukunda. Thank you, Madan.
Yeah, this verse is so special because Krishna is told in Bhagavad Gita, "Yayatamam prapajante tam sadava bhajamyaham," that I can reciprocate with anyone according to the degree of their surrender. So to now have a statement where you say that napareham nirvaja samyajam, even if I had a life of Brahma, I could not repay you, and let your love itself be the repayment. Because he says, Yama bhajan durjaya geha shrinkala. Durjaya means it's so difficult to give up society, family, friendship, love, all these things in the material world. So he's saying to the gopis, you've given up all of this to love me. Mother Yashoda does not have to give up anything to love Krishna. It's natural in the dharma of a mother to love her child. Krishna's friends don't have to give up anything dharmically to love Krishna because friends are friends. There's no violations. But these gopis, they violated even all social dharma, everything else to show love for Krishna. And so saying that this love is such that I cannot repay it, but he does repay it because he will come as Mahaprabhu and distribute service of that love to the world.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Back a little bit, just one comment about Mother Yasoda. She also went through her struggles when Krishna left. So that is a burden that can't even be spoken of. Of course, it's a different bhav, but it's serious. It's serious too. Patti, why did you tell us?
Let's go on now. It actually changes into another thread.
You have to say
here.
one sentence, please. It was so beautiful. I'm not letting it off.
I
Come
don't know
on.
what you're talking about.
So when we were talking about this verse, and you were saying about confidence, about how the gopis had to become confident, and then before the rasa dance, because this verse was used to give the
Napariyaham.
Yeah, that was so beautiful. It really did it for me. I wanted to share that.
Because because Krishna had disappeared from the rasa dance, when he reappeared, you may remember that the reciprocation between the gopis and Krishna, they were on the banks of the Jamuna singing their bhajan, their Gopi Gita, and then finally Krishna reappeared before them. And although they were loving and pleased to see him, there was still some current of disappointment, anger at him for leaving them. So they asked him that question about the different lovers. there are three different kinds of lovers. Which one do you prefer? And in answer, Krishna answered about the three. And then he finally answered this verse. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sanatana Goswami explained that with this statement, that I can't pay you back because your love is just so great, they felt satisfied that he would never leave them, that he was in gratitude, he was ingracious to them. So their fear of separation was dissipated completely, and therefore the rasa dance could commence without any kind of obstacle.
And but the confidence, they felt such confidence, and in my little neophyte stage, that's important to feel confident in our relationship with Krishna, and we can trust him. We can trust him.
We have to be willing to give our hearts.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on. We'll have to take some questions later, but let's go on with the Acharya reading so that we can complete this. Acharya.
Thank you. Text 181. Now, whatever affection we see the gopis show for their own bodies, know it for certain to be only for the sake of Lord Krishna. Purport. The selfless love of Godhead exhibited by the gopis cannot have any parallel. We should not therefore misunderstand the carefulness of the gopis in their personal decoration. The gopis dressed themselves as beautifully as possible just to make Krishna happy by seeing them. They had no ulterior desires. They dedicated their bodies and everything they possessed to the service of Sri Krishna, taking for granted that their bodies were meant for his enjoyment. They dressed themselves on the understanding that Krishna would be happy by seeing and touching them. The gopis think, I have offered this body to Lord Krishna. He is its owner, and it brings him enjoyment. Krishna finds joy in seeing and touching this body. It is for this reason that they cleanse and decorate their bodies. O Arjuna, there are no greater receptacles of deep love for me than the gopis, who cleanse and decorate their bodies because they consider them mine. Lord Krishna in the Adi Purana. There is another wonderful feature of the emotion of the gopis. Its power is beyond the comprehension of the intelligence. When the gopis see Lord Krishna, they derive unbounded bliss, although they have no desire for such pleasure. The gopis taste a pleasure 10 million times greater than the pleasure Lord Krishna derives from seeing them. The gopis have no inclination for their own enjoyment, and yet their joy increases. That is indeed a contradiction. For this contradiction, I see only one solution. The joy of the gopis lies in the joy of their beloved Krishna. Should I continue?
Yes, please.
Purport. The situation of the gopis is perplexing, for although they did not want personal happiness, it was imposed upon them. The solution to this perplexity is that Sri Krishna's sense of happiness is limited by the happiness of the gopis. Devotees at Vrindavan therefore tried to serve the gopis, namely Radharani and her associates. If one gains the favor of the gopis, he easily gains the favor of Krishna, because on the recommendation of the gopis, Krishna at once accepts the service of a devotee. Lord Chaitanya, therefore, wanted to please the gopis instead of Krishna. But his contemporaries misunderstood him, and for this reason, Lord Chaitanya renounced the order of householder life and became a sannyasi.
Remember when Lord Chaitanya was saying gopi, gopi?
Yeah, to his students.
Yeah, go on, Acharya. Give us something about this whole thing that you read.
It's finally, not finally, but it's getting to the point of this, a third reason why Krishna wants to taste the happiness of the gopis, because it's even greater than his own happiness by whatever millions of times.
Wow.
And, it's also nice that that they gain that happiness that intense happiness because they forget their own happiness, which is materially contradictory, but makes perfect spiritual sense.
Great point, Prabhu.
A favorite section of mine of the Chaitanya Charitamrita is at the end when the six Shastaka is being discussed. And Prabhupada quotes Bhaktisiddhanta in one of the purports saying that a devotee has no way of even perceiving happiness except by whether Krishna is satisfied.
That's wonderful. I was just going to ask you to comment on this 184. It's just directly on that. Read this one, 184.
184. O Arjuna, there are no greater receptacles of deep love for me than the gopis, who cleanse and decorate their bodies because they consider them mine.
That's
That's
nice.
nice. And I don't know what the Sanskrit is, but greater receptacles of love goes back to what was said earlier about the gopis being the ashraya, or the receptacles. And could you put it back up again, please? I just want to look at it quickly once more. Oh yeah, and also what was that? Because they consider them mine. Yeah, and something that's, also something that's apparently, they're cleaning and decorating their bodies. That's, separate or personal pleasure or personal care, but it's actually not. So that's also a nice point to remember, that with an ignorant or a superficial point of view, something may look like, it's selfish, but it may actually be done only for the pleasure of Krishna.
Yeah,
It's also
expertly done for Krishna. Everything to the point of putting one hair back in place so that Krishna will be pleased when he looks at me.
Sorry.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, please, Madan.
I remember that when you would go to sleep and when you'd wake up, you'd offer obeisances to Prabhupada. That would be the last thing you do at night. That hopefully everything I did was under your instructions. And when you wake up in the morning, everything that I'm doing, when you take your shower, it's for Prabhupada. Many of us wouldn't wake up that time of day if it wasn't for Prabhupada, a shower or shave or any of the different activities, but we would offer obeisances. And I remember that's what I was taught in LA in 72. That's why we offer obeisances when we go to bed and when we wake up.
Wonderful. Yeah, Bhaktisiddhanta also said he doesn't touch the floor with his feet unless he offers obeisances first. Wonderful. Mukunda, thank you, Madan. That's a practice that should be continued for life. Mukunda,
Yeah, so some time ago that I was hearing the discussions on the various levels of understanding Bhagavad Gita. So there's like a general level called Samanyan, and it goes up to something called Sarvaguyatam, where Krishna is speaking in like a code to Arjuna, his catharsis about his missing Vrindavan. The proof of that is in the Adi Puran, in his previous conversations with Arjuna about the gopis. Because in general, there's no context under normal circumstance where he would have been speaking outside of Braj to devotees, except like the queens at Dwarka that time, etc., about the love of the gopis, right? So, but here we have it in Adi Lila chapter 4. There's a couple of other verses like that mentions Krishna used to speak regularly to Arjuna. So one last point here is that therefore in the Gita Upanishad, it mentions Sava Upanishado Gavo Dugdha Nandana Gopala. The person speaking Bhagavad Gita actually is Nandanandan's son. He's actually the son of Nanda Maharaj. So it says Sava Upanishado Gova Dugdha Nandana Gopala. Parthavatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdha Gita Amritamha. Oh, great learned persons, please hear this wonderful katha of Bhagavad Gita, which was spoken by the milkman of Braj, who used Arjuna in the same way a calf is brought to a cow to get milk. So Parthavatsa Sudhir Bhokta means, Sudhir Bhokta means, learned persons enjoy how Arjuna was used as a calf, because you can't get milk from a cow unless you bring the calf. So the real nectar of Krishna's heart was revealed to Arjuna on the battle of Kurukshetra in code, in a very high way.
Wow. There's another wonderful verse that my husband has on his wall that we found from Prem Vivarta, that Krishna speaks to Arjun about the glories of the holy name. So there's a lot of Arjun's no ordinary personality. Hare Krishna. Krishna's
Acharya,
okay, we're going. Yeah.
Acharya, can you read these two verses again? You brought up a good point.
When the gopis see Lord Krishna, they derive unbounded bliss, although they have no desire for such pleasure. The gopis taste a pleasure 10 million times greater than the pleasure Lord Krishna derives from seeing them.
So what was your point?
That well, the one point is that by forgetting their own pleasure, that gives them an even greater pleasure. And the other point is the point of this section, the third point of Mahaprabhu's
The third
comment.
desire.
The third desire is to taste that love because it's so much greater even than what he's experiencing.
That was beautiful the way you connected that. Like that. That part was great.
Very nice. Okay, let's go on, shall we? And Faye, would you like to read? Faye? Let's see.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, sweetie, would you like to read?
Yes, Mataji, I will try.
Okie doke.
Text 190. When Lord Krishna sees the gopis, his joy increases, and his unparalleled sweetness also increases also. The gopis think, Krishna has obtained so much pleasure by seeing me. That thought increases the fullness and beauty of their faces and bodies. The beauty of Lord Krishna increases at the sight of the beauty of the gopis. And the more the gopis see Lord Krishna's beauty, the more their beauty increases. In this way, a competition takes place between them in which no one acknowledges defeat. Krishna, however, derives pleasure from the beauty and good qualities of the gopis. And when the gopis see his pleasure, the joy of the gopis increases. Therefore, we find that the joy of the gopis nourishes the joy of Lord Krishna. In that reason, the fault of lust is not present in their love. Purport: by looking at the beautiful gopis, Krishna becomes enlivened, and this enlivens the gopis, whose youthful faces and bodies blossom. This competition of increasing beauty between the gopis and Krishna, which is without limitations, is so delicate that sometimes mundane moralists mistake these dealings to be purely amorous. But these affairs are not at all mundane, because the gopis' intense desire to satisfy Krishna surcharges the entire scene with pure love of Godhead, with not a spot of sexual indulgence. I worship Lord Keshava coming back from the forest of Vraj. He is worshipped by the gopis, who mount the roofs of their palaces and meet him on the path with 100 manners of dancing glances and gentle smiles. The corners of his eyes wander like large black bees around the gopi's breast. Keshava's Staka, 8 of the Stava Mala, compiled by Sri La Rupa Goswami.
Oh, that was so beautiful. Do you have
It
something to say about that, Faye?
This is very, very simple, but it helps me understand a little bit about how much the exponential aspects are of Lord Krishna's love for the gopis and the gopis' love for him. I like to think of the symbol for infinity, which is the number 8 laying on its side. 8, by the way, being a good number for Krishna. But if you trace your finger around that pattern of the infinity symbol, on paper, I would like to imagine this infinity
Good.
symbol each time I go around gets bigger. And then next time I make the loop, it's even bigger until I run out of paper, and then I'm doing the infinity symbol on the wall. And then I'm doing it on the door and on the roof, out and out and out into the sky. Krishna's love and the gopis' love is described as a competition in which neither acknowledges defeat. It blows my mind that this eternal love for one another keeps exponentially expanding way beyond my understanding.
That was beautiful
Just
imagery, Faye.
wonderful.
Very good. Very good.
Very good. Oh, you got the approval of all the Vaishnavas. Very good, Faye. Good for you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. Anyone want to add to that, or pretty much infinity covers the whole thing? Okay.
I think we're going to stop there, son.
Oh, wow, we have one more verse, and Madhurya Leela has to read.
Okay.
Madhurya.
It's a lot more than one verse.
Okay, well, we'll go for a little while. Madhurya Leela, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to read, my darling? It's nice to have you here.
Yes, Krishna's mercy that I can read.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just
Okay,
keep
text
reading.
197. There's another natural symptom of the gopis' love that shows it to be without a trace of lust. The love of the gopis nourishes the sweetness of Lord Krishna. That sweetness in turn increases their love, for they are greatly satisfied. The happiness of the abode of love is in the happiness of the object of that love. That is not a relation. This is not a relationship of desire for personal gratification. Whenever there is unselfish love, that is its style. The reservoir of love derives pleasure when the lovable object is pleased. When the pleasure of love interferes with the service of Lord Krishna, the devotees become angry towards such ecstasy. Did you want me to
Yeah, go on.
stop?
Keep going.
Okay, her part. As mentioned above, the gopis are the predominated lovers, and Sri Krishna is the predominator, the beloved. The love of the predominated nourishes the love of the predominator. The gopis had no desire for selfish enjoyment. Their feeling of happiness was indirect, for it was dependent on the pleasure of Krishna. Causeless love of Godhead is always so. Such pure love is possible only when the predominated is made happy by the happiness of the predominator. Such unadulterated love is exemplified when the lover deprecates her happiness in service that hinders her from discharging it.
Go on.
Sri Daruka did not relish his ecstatic feelings of love, for they caused his limbs to become stunned and thus obstructed his service of fanning Lord Krishna. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 3.262. The lotus-eyed Radharani powerfully condemned the ecstatic love that caused a flow of tears that hindered her sight of Govinda. Furthermore, pure devotees never forsake the loving service of Lord Krishna to aspire for their own personal pleasure through the 5 kinds of liberation.
Keep going.
Keep per part. A pure devotee of Krishna who loves him exclusively will flatly refuse to accept any sort of liberation, beginning from merging in the body of the Lord and extending to the other varieties of liberation, such as equality of form, opulence or abode, opulence or abode, and the opulence of living near the Lord. Just as the celestial waters of the Ganges flow unobstructed into the ocean, so when my devotees simply hear of me, their minds come to me, who reside in the hearts of all. These are the characteristics of transcendental loving service to Purushottam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is causeless, and it cannot be obstructed in any way. My devotees do not accept Salokya, Srishti, Sarupya, Samipya, or oneness with me, even if I offer these liberations in preference to serving me. Yeah, we keep going.
Yes,
Go ahead, just finish up.
just
These
finish
are
up.
these three verses from Srimad Bhagavatam 3:29, 11 to 13 were spoken by Lord Krishna in the form of Kapila Dev. Text 2:8. My devotees, having fulfilled their desires by serving me, do not accept the four kinds of salvation that are easily earned by such service. Why then should they accept any pleasure that are lost in the course of time? Report. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 9:467 was spoken by the Lord in connection with the characteristics of Maharaj Ambarish. Merging into the existence of the Absolute is as temporary as living in the celestial kingdom. Both of them are controlled by time. Neither position is permanent. The natural love of the gopis is devoid of any trace of lust. It is faultless, bright, and pure like molten gold. The gopis are the helpers, teachers, friends, wives, dear disciples, confidants, and serving maids of Lord Krishna. O Partha, I speak to you the truth. The gopis are my helpers, teachers, disciples, servants, friends, and consorts. I do not know what they are not to me. Gopi Premamrita. The gopis know Krishna's desires, and they know how to render perfect loving service for his enjoyment. They perform their service expertly for the satisfaction of their beloved. O Partha, the gopis know my greatness, my loving service, they know my greatness, my loving service, respect for me, and my mentality. Others cannot really know these. Lord Krishna to Arjuna in the Adi Purana.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madhurya. That was a complete summary of everything.
Yes.
Really.
Any
Thank you so
realization, Madhurya Leela?
Well, I was reminded of the mother's love for the child. The mother will do anything for the child's happiness, and when the child is happy, she's happy. When the child is sad, she's sad. So it's kind of like that with the gopis.
I thought it was interesting. There were two different examples. One of the ecstatic symptoms, which may get in the way of service, and the other was even liberation. People might think that I'm doing this because the result will be I'll go back to Godhead, or I'll be liberated from the material world.
If there's dangers coming, the mother will get killed and protect
Okay.
herself and top of the child. It's much more than I'm sad.
God.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I don't know what that last thing was, but
You want to say it?
okay. Shall we pay our obeisances now? That was beautiful. I wanted to just hear that wonderful explanation from Srila Prabhupada of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which sums it all up, really, the love of the gopis.
The perfect way to head into Gaur Purnima. Happy Gaur Purnima, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, so we're not going to have a Zoom on Tuesday. It's Gaur Purnima all day. And the next time we'll meet together will be next Saturday. Okay? Thank you all. Bless you.
Vachikalpatubhyascha kripasindhuvascha titanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.